program is sponsored by Ford and PlayStation, UEFA Champions League sponsors.
Good evening, welcome to the big match replayed and full coverage of Arsenal's final Champions League tie against the Greek side Panathinaikos. Defeat against Lens 2 weeks ago ended Arsenal's hopes of progress. Tonight then was about pride restoring and denying Panathinaikos the points that could take them into the quarter-finals. Well, once again, injuries and suspensions hit Arsenal hard. 14 players were unavailable to manager Arsene Wenger. Seaman, Bold and Anelka were their only recognised first-teamers. Panathinaikos had no suspension worries and included their former Derby County midfielder Aliosa Asanovic in their midfield. So let's get over to Athens, where our match commentators are Barry Venison and Peter Drury.
Well, the more cruelly ill fortune has knocked at the Highbury door in the recent past, the more frequently opportunity has knocked for those who are normally well down the pecking order. This is another night of the understudy. Who knows? The start of something big for somebody of whom we know little up to now. And Barry, that's the positive way of looking at it from Arsenal's point of view on what just might be a hazardous night.
Well, it's bound to be hazardous because of the lack of experience which you've just outlined so emphatically. But this has got to be treated as an adventure. And one thing we don't want the Arsenal young lads to go out is play with any kind of fear. Arsene Wenger will be instilling into them, go out and play with a sense of adventure. Go and express yourselves. You know, don't hide behind the fact that it's not a full-strength team. Go out and be yourselves, and hopefully they might come away with a little surprise result. You just never know. But it's very important to start the game quickly, to pick up the pace, and that don't get pushed back too early. And obviously, the main thing is do not concede that early goal.
Vivas, the Argentine, with the throw-in, playing at right full-back today. He was at left-back in the Premiership at Derby on Saturday. But the thought of an Arsenal team with neither Lee Dixon nor Nigel Winterburn, nor for that matter Tony Adams, as part of what used to be a famous back five, is pretty well unthinkable, certainly at this level. Asanovic. That's Milojevic, the Yugoslav sweeper. Vasinas. And Asanovic again. Closing him down there is Paolo Vanazza. What a night for him. Only just 19 years old. He's been on loan at Ipswich for a month or so this season. Indeed, his first sniff of first-team action was a first-division game against Swindon this year, and his last game in a first-team shirt was an East Anglian derby in October, in which Ipswich were beaten by their great rivals Norwich. That's Vivas away. Now Mendes. Anelka through the middle. Mendes has kept on going. It's a terrifically determined run, which ended in a cul-de-sac, but showed the sense of adventure, which is what Arsene Wenger will no doubt be requiring from his side.
Already Asanovic, he's only 2 minutes into the game, and he's found himself a little bit of time and a lot of space just in that central midfield area. And Arsenal look as if they've started positively, they've closed down quickly, but he's got a little bit of class, Asanovic, and if you give him time, he can hurt you.
Rondin. Another one of the truly young brigade. Ray. Lifted through now into the path of Nicolas Anelka. Good stop by the keeper, who took enough of the ball to persuade the Italian referee that there was nothing untoward in his challenge on Anelka.
Well, there was no flag there, was there? Nicolas Anelka, he's got one magnificent asset. It's at lightning speed. And if he's starting level with anybody, he's going to beat them over 20, 30 yards, even over 5 yards. And the goalkeeper had to be very sharp off his line. Joseph Wanzik.
Tell you what, this is a gutsy start from Arsenal.
It is. It's very encouraging. Arsene Wenger will be delighted that they started on the front foot. They're closing down, as you see, put them under pressure, determined not to be in the back foot, and which was going to be vital for them. The last thing they need to be is camped on the only 18-yard box, and they've started in great vein.
Upson's free kick. David Grondin. the least heralded of the many Frenchmen in the Arsenal squad, whose own experience amounts to a League Cup tie or two. Upson with the red gloves to match his shirt. It's Boamorte. Raimondi having a go. Arsenal, remember, at home and abroad in a pretty gruesome run of form. No win in any of their last 6 matches, and in that time only 1 goal. It's included their elimination from the League Cup in pretty emphatic fashion against Chelsea, as well, of course, as their mathematical elimination from the Champions League, to which they say hopefully au revoir this evening. Grondin. Morte was wide, Anelka in front, Ray alongside. Raimondi. And Grondin. It's Apostolakis facing his own goal and finding himself in a tight corner and doing well to win Panathinaikos a goal kick. Their form too has been questionable since losing in Kiev. They have gone down in both recent league games against Xanthi, who are 4th in the Greek First Division, and also to their massive rivals Olympiacos 4-2 in the big derby game. Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, Everton, call it what you like, inside this stadium on Saturday, after which there was a riot. But they attack now. Liberopoulos trying to find himself half a yard from which to cross.
He'll do that as well, Peter. Liberopoulos, he covers the ground very quickly. Wazik will not move too far from the box. He'll stay pretty much up front by himself, and Liberopoulos, he'll work around them. He's a workhorse, but he can score goals. They've got to keep the concentration at the back, and they've started, like I said, they've started very well, and they'll get a lot of confidence from the start of the game. They've put a couple of passes together, and Panathinaikos so far haven't been any kind of threat at all. Of course, it's very early.
Milojevic. Apostolakis caught in possession. This is Paulo Vanatza. He has support upcoming. Mendes. Very promising from Arsenal.
Alberto Mendes, I think he just got caught in 2 minds there. It was Paulo Vanatza, one of the young lads at the fancy at Arsenal. He's nicked the ball in midfield. He's got a couple of options on. He's laid it wide, and I don't think Mendes really knew well to shoot across it in the end. He's went halfway between the two. That was half a chance.
Vasilis Stanyal there, the Panathinaikos coach, in his 3rd spell at the club, and he has been quoted as saying that this is clearly his biggest game of the season.
It's been a very quiet start from Panathinaikos. The crowd are quiet. Superb European play from the away team. I expected a lot more passion and drive. To be fair, Arsenal haven't allowed them to do that just yet.
Umas, the number 8 you saw on the ball there, was outstanding at Wembley as a man marker. Milojevic, the sweeper now. Apostolakis. Long towards Liberopoulos, and watched back by Nelson Vivas to David Seaman.
Good play by Vivas. He let the wide man stay out there. He knew the threat was in behind Steve Bull, and a lovely little cover play.
There was much debate about who should play in goal for Arsenal prior to this game, and Alex Manninger, having taken a horrible caning in the League Cup side by Chelsea, has been protected, predictably. This is Boamorte getting to the byline and putting over a mischievous cross. Ray hasn't given up the ghost just yet. Vanatza's in there now. It's Boamorte again, and Milojevic was well positioned at the near post to prevent any other danger to the Greek goal. There's the president of the Panathinaikos side, Georgios Vardinionanis, who is a shipping magnate in the top 20 richest men in the world.
Is that a magnate rather than a magnet?
Anelka. Mendes inside of him. Anelka kept on going himself, and possibly to good effect.
He could have slipped them in there. I think he's made the wrong decision there, Nicolas Anelka. Alberto Mendes was free, completely free in the inside right channel, and that's twice early on in the game that they've had a goal-scoring opportunity if it had been played in the right way. All very encouraging.
Vivas for Venazza. And now Ray. Rondam battling well. Still coming out second best. And it's Apostolakis who can cross halfway. Flags up against Varshika. Regardless of personnel, you can always rely on an Arsenal back four to be pushing up together.
Yeah, the line was spot on again. I'm surprised I didn't see four arms go up in there. That's the only difference. But they got it right. The linesman got it right as well.
And actually, amid all this disappointing recent form for Arsenal, the defence has remained as steadfast as ever.
Well, it's needed to for them to get results. To get any kind of result, because obviously the goal scoring is a problem. But they've been a threat early on tonight.
Vivas. Venazza. Mendes wide. Alberto Mendes. Full of ideas in the early stages, but running out of space then. It's Vivas with the clattering challenge. Kola, the Albanian, going down.
I don't know if Vivas has got a clattering challenge in him. What is he, 4'9", he's about 8 stone wet through. He's a little competitor though, as most Argentinians are.
Yeah, he is after all a World Cup player as well. It's perhaps a little derogatory to speak in terms of him as a replacement type player. Don't become an Argentinian international without a little something in your game. Ray. Melka's turning circle was tight enough, but Milojevic was there to lever it away from him.
Arsene Wenger's off the bench there on the sidelines, and I think what he's doing is he's telling Mendes to push on. He's wanting to close the ball down quickly, even in the left back spot. He wants Arsenal to push up and put the pressure on Pana. Attack is the best form of defence, obviously in Arsene's book today.
By Milojevic. Apostolakis is always quick to join the attack. It's Varshika. He's always a danger. But he ran up against a red brick wall then. Varshika working hard to win it back. Kola. Varshika dispossessed. Venazza, Mendes. Gumas cutting it out. Konstantinidis through midfield. Venazza's looking a strong young player early on.
He is, he's looking very impressive, isn't he? And that's a vital area for Arsenal, because they could easily be outnumbered in midfield if they're not careful. Pana obviously playing with 3 men at the back and 5 across the middle. Arsenal the usual 4-4-2.
Alyosha Rasanovic. Liberopoulos has peeled away and awaits the cross. Here is Liberopoulos. Good tackle by Grondin. There are some young fellas growing up here and puffing out chests and refusing to play like boys. Rasanovic. And again Rasanovic. Well worked, but ultimately erroneously executed by Alyosha Rasanovic.
Well, we've mentioned him early on. He is a talented player, he is creative, and he's a little one too there. He's shooting as well off target. But that's the area where he can make it count and he can hurt you. He's got the guile and the craft in there. Much travelled player, doesn't stay at clubs very long, but he can cause damage.
Liberopoulos, and then Konstantinidis. Upson patrolling his patch well. Vivas getting it clear. Milojevic in ahead of Nicholas Anelka. And just about clear from Vanchik.
When I was talking about Arsenal being overloaded in midfield, actually Christopher Ray is doing a great job because he's dropping off Anelka and filling in when they haven't got the ball.
Grondin's cross, an adventurous one as well. Mendes couldn't quite get that, and Blendar Kola can bring it away. Kola's ball for Liberopoulos. Upson well stationed again. Ball doing the directing, and Grondin watching it back to David Seaman, who's very present on the same field. Will mean a lot to a few of these young guys, I'm sure. Bassinas, Anelka took it from him. Good tackle though.
Good harrying again.
This is Ray. Really uplifting show from Arsenal so far. Just how long can they sustain it?
Not his usual position, Christopher Ray. Obviously a front runner, front man, but he's dropping in midfield and sticking his foot in as well.
Grondin's throw. Ray. Apostolakis with the challenge and the foul. In the view of the Italian referee, he's to be a little careful. He's on a yellow card. And another one picked up now. Were it all to go right for the Greeks tonight, could cost him a quarter-final game. Vanchik has some instructions to give. Mendes over the free kick for Arsenal. Alberto Mendes. Oh, mischievous one. And Anelka met it, and Vanchik had to plunge to his left to keep it out, but now Arsenal are thin at the back. Vashika waiting in the middle, Liberopoulos across. Grondin away, and ball there to calm it all down.
What a save that was, Peter. It's a great delivery in. And Nicholas Anelka, he attacks it a little bit of use of an arm, and that's a fantastic save down to his left. And a little bit of luck, and could have bounced out through an Arsenal player. But I'm delighted to see they were on the guard at the back. They didn't get caught with, dare I say it, a counter-attack away to Panathinaikos, but they sorted it out superbly well.
Boumorte turning. And from long range, craving a corner, which wasn't awarded. Bassinas with the challenge. Last of the Portuguese wide man. But it needs stressing, albeit after only 17 minutes, just how proud Arsene Wenger must be feeling with this team.
Well, like we said earlier on, Peter, I agree with you completely. Early on, get the passes together. Don't sit on the edge of the box. They haven't done that. They've knocked a few passes around. They've created chances. They've opened them up a couple of times in a little bit more, making the right decision. They could have been at least one goal ahead. Because in all honesty, Panathinaikos haven't threatened the Arsenal goal.
Well, no Arsenal team has ever lost to Greek opposition. And it's a record to which they aim to cling this evening. That is, of course, in the senior European competition. The sharp ones amongst you will recall that only last year in the UEFA Cup, Arsenal went out to PAOK Salonika in the north of this country. Very, very hostile night inside a stadium there that they call the Tomb.
Nice and pleasant.
You're not made to feel entirely welcome.
An awkward one for David Seaman. That pitch is firm out there, I must say. And last night when we watched the train, it was slippy, it was slick. Tonight, it's very cold and it's dry and it's a little bit bumpy in places.
And it's a free kick to Panathinaikos. Aljosa Asanovic is over it. And it's in a position not dissimilar from that which Luis Bermorte and Alberto Mendes worked for Arsenal a short time ago. Nicolas Anelka going close then, and Steve Bold having to do some key direction at the back for Arsenal now. He's the man with the nous. Asanovic is the man with the left boot. And Arsenal had enough back, and the shot is from Vasinas! And Seaman did terrifically well, plunging to his left post to deny the defender what would have been a very special goal.
Great strike, wasn't it? Arsenal actually cleared the box very well, but they didn't get to the man on the ball quick enough. He took his strike early. David Seaman wasn't fooled, although it was a good save down to his left. The Panathinaikos players, if that had bounced off, I think they would have been offside because they were actually behind the Arsenal back four. As the shot goes in there, you can just see the following in. If that bounced off David Seaman, I would like to think the linesman would have flagged, interfering with play.
Bermorte, good run, good ball in. Really extended Vanchik. He's all of 6'5", but he gets down well, and he did then, and his distribution was swift as well. This is Varshika. Snappily in was Ray, came to Anelka, then Bermorte. Anelka again, has options inside of him. Anelka with a clever pass, and Vanchik hurriedly off his line.
The flag was up here. He was just slightly offside. But Mendes is the one who'll join in. He'll come in from the right. He won't stay out there in the right wing. He likes to get forward. He likes to get shots in. But the pace, that's onside.
It's marginal at best.
That is very tight. I think the linesman's got it wrong. I don't think he would have got the ball in all honesty.
Well, if Lens and Kiev want to kick up a stink about the Arsenal team that's been set out tonight, then Arsene Wenger need only send them a video of these first 20-21 minutes to show that Arsenal are giving it everything here.
Correct.
Comfortable catch for Seaman.
You know, the mood the Arsenal players are in now, you sense that they really fancy this game. They've got themselves bedded in for that 20 minutes, vital part of the game.
Benatza. Oh, good tackle by Milojevic. Forward again by Grimondi. It's Nicolas Anelka. Anelka into the box. Key tackle from Gumas. Arsenal's corner.
Good defender. It is good defending by Gumas. And he's the one who will be following Nicolas Anelka all over the park. He's the man marker. But the pace of Guamorte, the pace of Anelka, and they are playing quite square times, Panathinaikos. They're taking a little bit of a gamble. They might just get caught. The pace, that's the big threat.
Ball is a natural target. Mendes with the corner. Vanchik has come, and he's lost it. And Milojevic belted it over his own bar. But the referee had long since seen a shove somewhere in that melee, and Vanchik is off the hook.
I'm not convinced by this goalkeeper, Peter. I believe they call him the mountain, but he moved a bit like a mountain there. I think he's a bit of a flapper. He's not happy when he's coming through bodies, and there was not an awful lot wrong with that.
Sinas, closest to Panathinaikos goal so far. Bermorte, nice touch. Anelka wanting it far post. Milojevic diving in. Arsenal's free kick. He's causing real problems.
He is. Pace. Christopher Rea slipped them in there. He's pace. He can open his legs. He's very quick. He's causing untold problems down that right side.
Grondin. Asanovic with a party piece in an area of the field where coaches on the whole don't like to see them. And here's Bermorte asking big questions of Milojevic, who actually got away with just a throw in there.
I think he just got the ball first and then took the man. Well, it was last ditch. He was at full stretch, wasn't he? If he just mistimes that.
Long towards Varshika, watched over his head by Upson. Who will have heard Seaman coming? Hasn't kept a clean sheet in the Champions League yet this year, David Seaman. It would be a rather amusing irony if this was to be the night. Grondin, Boamorte, little shove in the back, free kick. Konstantinidis, the over-physical Greek.
It's always a good sign when one player comes in for a little bit of stick. Well, that means the other team are a little bit fearful. And it's Boamorte who's getting knocked over more than you would like at the minute.
Raimondi over it. Bold has hurried to the far post. It's Bold attacking it now. Liveropoulos hooked it clear. Barshika can hold it up. Arsenal can get the cavalry back. And Paolo Vanazza, box to box, is covering an awful lot of territory.
He did very well that pick. I was watching him and he tracked that run, no problem. He's obviously a fit young lad with a big engine. And he just cruised back there in the right position at the right time. Help his defence out. That's part of the midfielder's job. They've got to get forward, but they must get back and help the back four, and he did it very well there. Showed a lot of maturity.
Angelos Bassinas. Away from Ray. Bassinas with the cross. Out by Bold. Raimondi was cool, and Grondin was able to dig it out.
Good pressure again.
Panathinaikos over there running out of space. Raimondi. Vivas. Away from Anelka by Dumas. Vivas went in, let's say, enthusiastically, and Andreas Lagonikakis felt the full force.
He used his body well, didn't he? He just rolled him. Just rolled Nelson Vivas. So the ball comes in, he just sticks his bum in and rolls him round.
Well by Anelka.
Arsenal, before the game, I was quite concerned that they wouldn't be able to match Panathinaikos physically. But I tell you, they've matched them tackle for tackle and shoulder to shoulder. They certainly put the foot in, they're getting stuck in.
Bassinas. Stanovic.
That's where you want him, going backwards, backwards. That's good to see. He's dangerous going the other way. No problem going that way.
Barshika coming off his man. And one back for Mendes. And Anelka, good ball. Mendes cross. Out by Milojevic.
That was an important header, wasn't it? A great break. And Paolo Vanazza was in the box another couple of inches, and he was a header from 6 yards.
Vivas, Anelka, Boamorte. Just wouldn't fall.
They're winning the battle in midfield. They're winning the tackles in midfield, and what they're doing is they're breaking very quickly. And it's a big threat. Panathinaikos are very unsettled. We haven't seen the team that they can be. They're not the most talented side ever, but I certainly expect to impose themselves a lot more on the game. All credit to Arsenal.
In a sense, though it is still early, of course, it just makes you think all the more, what if? What if Arsenal hadn't let in those 2 last-minute goals and they really did just have to come here for a point? And everyone would still have been fearful that the weakened team didn't have a chance of getting that point, and they'd have come out and played this first half hour like this.
Well, I think if they needed a point, Peter, I don't think, in all honesty, with all due respect to Arsene Wenger, I don't think we would have seen this team. I think we would have seen a few people just rising from that little treatment table and appearing tonight. But Aston Villa on Sunday, a big game, understandable.
Apostolakis. Bassinas. Sent off here on Saturday in the 2-4 defeat by Olympiacos. Away from Grondin. Down the line for Barshika. And then Kola and Asanovic into the box, and Liberopoulos lost his footing when it counted most.
They got away with that. David Grandin got sucked out the left-back slot. That left just 3 across the back 4, and that's why they were overloaded on the left-hand side. It was lucky the final delivery wasn't quite spot on, because they had a man extra. It's right to show ambition, it's right to close quickly, but they must make sure that they keep that back 4 intact. A little warning, maybe.
Anelka. Boamorte. Anelka's gone wide this time, and has it now. Nicholas Anelka. It's Mendes calling for it far post. Out by Logonikakis. Asanovic. Masinas. Konstantinidis.
Again, that's tremendous. Breaking it up, and now they're on the break again.
And that was well refereed. Anelka. Luis Boamorte. Boamorte's drive! And again Boamorte. And Vanchik, who couldn't hold on first time, was brave to dive in at feet second time round.
That's great play. Why didn't he get out? With his pace, I punched him to get out of the defender there. Get a little bit closer, one more touch and get a strike in. But, again, another opportunity for Arsenal. And the crowd are now starting to give Panathinaikos a little bit of stick, which is great to hear.
Bonazza. Vivas for Anelka, and Vivas has kept on going. It's a run full of adventure. It's Nicholas Anelka. It's Christopher Ray. Ray's drive. Just couldn't dig it out.
Christopher Ray, if he had an opportunity just to slip it in wide right there. Took the shot. Probably the wrong decision.
Hudson. It's as if for one or two of these players, the shackles have been taken off. Well, in a sense, it's a pressure-free game for them, isn't it? And they're being allowed to come out here and play a big game under just slightly less pressured circumstances, and it seems to be working for them. Bonazza. Boamorte. Bonazza kept on going. Konstantinidis stood strong. Kola. Dangerous ball into the box. Ball is covering.
Yeah, you're right, Peter. It's a no-lose situation in a sense, but the last thing I want to do here is come here and get a good hiding. We said before the game, it'd be great for them to come out and play with no fear, play with ambition, play with adventure, and they've done that. And I tell you what, it's all credit to Arsene Wenger and his coaching staff for getting them in the right mental mood, the right attitude, because there's a fine line between sending players out there to really express themselves and having that fear of getting beat. But they've been a credit to Arsenal tonight.
Kola. And again, Blendar Kola. It's Kola's cross, and Seaman has stayed, and Liberopoulos was 6 inches shorter than he might have liked to have been at that stage. And Grondin got it clear. And Ray couldn't win it away from Milojevic. Konstantinidis. Liberopoulos tumbling, and the referee letting it go. And then Anelka losing the momentum really before it was built up. Arsenal did, of course, actually play Panathinaikos in European competition back in the early 80s, the 81-82 season. And they won in this city 2-0. Last Arsenal player to score in Athens was Raphael Mead. I remember him.
I do remember him. That you're getting on in years.
Brian McDermott scored that night as well in a 2-0 win, and Brian Talbot scored in the return game. Up to date, it's 0-0. Varshika. Liberopoulos wanted to get it back to him, and Seaman was alive and alert and reading, as he has done for a long time now. It's his 399th game in the Arsenal goal tonight.
I tell you who was alive and alert and reading there. It was Nelson Vivas again. He left the least dangerous man, the wide man, and he come across him behind Steve Bowles and covered very well.
Agonikakis. Ran out of space. Want to throw in, over for which has come Kola. Aimed in towards Varshika. He's all alone! He got the wrong side of Grondin, but he couldn't make the touch count.
He got away with a similar incident 2 minutes before, where he actually took a gamble and stood behind the similar kind of cross. He's gambled on and missing it. If you watch Grondin's position, he's not in a position to challenge. He's got to be goal side. And Varshika, with his quality and his goal-scoring record, that is a big let-off for Arsenal.
Who is stretched again now, Ball facing goal and doing the simple thing. Panathinaikos just stepping on it now, and this is where the severe test really starts. Big noise in the stadium. Seaman pushed it out, and the finish from Konstantinidis was an inadequate one.
It's a wicked ball in. David Seaman's got two hands to it. Well, all he can do is palm it out. It's whipped into the near post. David Seaman decides to do something about it. His own player gets in the way. Again, a let-off. That's two within a minute.
Reeled in now. Just a reminder that this is a fixture dependent on the one being played in northern France tonight. Lens against Kiev. From the Panathinaikos point of view, the status quo there is good because it's still 0-0. They need that to be a draw, but they must beat Arsenal. And by now, in all truth, they should have beaten that man, David Seaman.
Well, this game could have been 2 each quite easily. It's important that they don't concede before half-time. Less than 10 minutes to go.
Grondin. Vermorte through the middle this time. Anelka in front of him. Ray just behind now. It's Christopher Ray. Bernats are in bags of space. This is Grimondi. Ray. Ran out of ideas just as the move was gathering momentum. Masinas. Varshika turning. Upson closest to him.
He's looked lively. Out of the box for Varshika. That's not his game. Thankfully, he hasn't looked too lively at all when he's had that one opportunity. Arsene Wenger's upset there because he wanted Christopher Ray just to play the ball wide easily, and he tried something complicated on the edge of the box, and consequently his team's under pressure. Sometimes a simple thing is the best thing.
Years old, Vasilis Daniel. 3 times he's been in charge of Panathinaikos. He's also worked for the big opposition, Olympiacos. And received knowledge is that he is one of the canniest coaches around on the European scene. And there was great crowd reaction you might have noted there, which we gather is because Croatia Zagreb have taken the lead against Olympiacos, who were at the top of their group at the start of play this evening. That's the nature of the local rivalry. Here is Grimondi. Liberopoulos. Kola couldn't take it. Varshika wanted it from him. Vivas has it. Kostelakis. Konstantinidis Wanted it on the near side. Arsenal got bodies round it, and now can break with Mendes. Alberto Mendes. Milojevic stayed close to him and stood up and towed it away. Bashika. Konstantinidis! Oh, what a touch!
That is a magnificent save. And Arsene Wenger will be livid. The ball was given away on the edge of the other box, and it ends up here. A great chance and a fantastic save, and a little bit of luck because Asanovic is right there for the rebound. His fingertips, and there's Asanovic inches away.
That is an outstanding stop from David Seaman. Arsenal still alive. Panathinaikos corner. And Seaman clutching at his near post.
The last two Arsenal attacks, which would be worrying for Arsene Wenger, a little bit inexperienced. The last two Arsenal attacks has ended up losing the ball, and Panathinaikos on the break, and they're looking dangerous. This is their best spell of the game.
Anelka. Grimondi. Anelka again. And between the two of them, Anelka and Bermorte were pretty determined that Milojevic wouldn't get a sniff of the ball.
What's happening here? The forwards are picking on the defenders. It's all going wrong. Nasty pieces of work. It's just a little trip. Nothing malicious.
Anelka beautifully brought down. And Ray was following up, and Bermorte wants to snap in there as well. But Konstantinidis can hoof it clear. And David Grondin can watch it into touch. Stanovic with the challenge, which Brashi didn't like. And again from Asanovic. And Grondin going in. And the referee considering that Liberopoulos was too quickly to earth. Awarding Arsenal the throw-in.
Please dive, Peter. Is that not a booking? I suppose some referees give it and some don't.
That's the eternal argument, isn't it?
The consistency not of it.
Sinas with the tackle. Arsenal's throw again, and Vasilis Daniel uncomfortable on the bench. He's up and down like a yo-yo, and he's clearly concerned. Foul on Christopher Ray. Last 2.5 minutes of a massively encouraging first half for the future, perhaps, of Arsenal Football Club. Milojevic. Kola. Nagonikakis. Apostolakis back to square one. Konstantinidis. Basinas. Basinas with the cross. Out by Upson. Nagonikakis got a touch. Asanovic. Milojevic. Asanovic. Liberopoulos. Chance here!
Well, Pete, you mentioned the future. The future's obviously important, but now, the next 2.5 minutes are absolutely vital that they keep a clean sheet. And again, it was the right man from Pana's point of view, with a great goal-scoring opportunity. Not only stronger foot, he's not finding the target, thankfully for Arsenal. Just getting a little bit stretched. Steve Ball closed him down very well, put him under pressure. To keep it 0 each till half-time, and a tomorrow victory.
Christoph Barshika has more than 200 Greek league goals to his name. He's been the top scorer in 3 of the last 5 seasons domestically. Liberopoulos is a big customer and hard to shake off the ball. Sheer weight of numbers work for Arsenal then. Bassinas. Going in eagerly again. David Seaman may remind him that he's right-footed at half-time. Wasn't too grateful for the most recent back pass. It's now Asanovic over the corner. Last minute of the first half. Seaman has come and got good distance on the palm away. Anelka a little lucky in the way he held it up, but now able to break. And there's space aplenty, and there are plenty forward with him too. Vivas through the inside right channel. Benazza wants it. Boa-Morte may get it. It's Luis Boa-Morte! Oh! No clearer-cut chance.
It would have been clearer cut if he could have just got it on his left foot. It's on his right foot. He's not the most... That started all the way back with David Seaman. Arsenal broke as they have done all game. They've got pace in the team, Anelka and Boa-Morte, and that's how they nearly created their own chance. Just on his weak foot, and he cuts across the ball. You see, he just cuts across. He doesn't get a clean strike. That would have been great time to score a goal.
Raimondi, Anelka. Good ball. Mendes wants it. Mendes mystified by the upraising of the flag on the far side. But what a fantastic break from the back that was by Arsenal a short time ago. The highlight perhaps of a first half, which if you look at the larger picture is full of Arsenal highlights. How encouraging to say a team stripped bare, performing so well on foreign soil. Half-time in Athens, it's Panathinaikos 0, Arsenal 0.
Find love on the phone. Call the Singles Network on 0891 03 03 03.
Okay guys, how long you go now, okay? How's your hamstring? Yeah, good? You should be just by now. Come on. Okay, well, one game away, everybody, so come in, let's focus. What are we going to do? Win!
Physio Sport Massage, part of a new body care range for sportsmen and women, developed with sports scientists and the International Olympic Committee, track tested by Olympic athletes from around the world. New Physio Sport, part of the ritual.
Discover the hottest new way to date in the 90s. The Date Exchange. 0891 808 808.
Oh, what you seeing me, Kevin? I mean, not many fellas go for single mums. Especially as I'm no oil painting. What with you being a male model and all that. You're so good with Troy. When you play with him for hours, on that scale at 60 bought him. I don't know what you're seeing me, Kevin.
Buy one pack of Young's prawns and get the second free. Frozen prawns, that is. But hurry, they won't be around forever.
Buy Titanic on video at Woolworths for $12.99.
Half the price, twice the fun. 50% cheaper than 0891 Gay Cruise. 0894 811 811.
This cheese is made to a traditional West Country recipe. It's graded and allowed to mature for many months until it's rich enough, smooth enough and mature enough to bear our name. Cathedral City Cheddar.
Believe in R, the massive new album from R. Kelly, including Half on a Baby, I Believe I Can Fly, and Home Alone. Plus Gotham City and I'm Your Angel. The man is R. Kelly. The album is R. Out now.
One call could change your life forever. 0894 711 711, the Flirt Hotline.
It's a ground this which has hosted 2 European Cup finals over the last 15 years. If Panathinaikos want to host another quarter-final here, then they have to break through. That's what it's all about from the Greek point of view, Barry.
Well, from the Arsenal point of view, well, we've got to admit they rode the luck a little bit the first half, but they did pose a threat, and they've got to start the second half the same way in the start. The first half, which is like they are now, closing down. And
Nelka going in there, Vanchik came! Oh! And still not away! And Boa Morte fired across goal and wide.
What a start that would have been. First 30 seconds in there, pressure on the ball again. Fantastic closing down by Anelka. Confusion in the Panathinaikos background. And another chance gone begging. I wonder if they'll live to regret them, Boa Morte.
Well, it appeared to bounce back off the keeper towards Anelka before he was ready really to receive it. It'll be interesting to see whether he had even a split second to react. He didn't really. It would have been a fortunate goal had it gone in, but it was mightily unlucky that it didn't. Here is Mendes. Arsenal beginning with similar thrust, and then Mendes letting the pressure out of the valve when they had a chance to really make it tell.
I would just wonder what shape those posts are, because I don't know whether the diamond or the square, but it certainly took a horrible little bounce for Arsenal, didn't it? That would have been a dream start. But, again, very encouraging.
Kola. And Liberopoulos. And Vashika. And Asanovic in the middle, and Liberopoulos continuing his run. Asanovic, clever ball. Vashika going in there. And Arsenal with enough back to limit the damage to a corner only.
No doubt about it, Peter. Pana are definitely going to turn the heat up the second half. They've got to. They've got all to play for. Arsenal must be resilient.
Alyosha Asanovic with the first corner of the second half. Dangerously to the near post. And Grondin clear. Kola. Away from Vivas. Back by Asanovic. And then lifted into orbit by Andreas Lagonikakis. Via, in the view of the referee, Christopher Ray. Though David Seaman doesn't necessarily see it that way. Thrilling start to the second half at both ends. Asanovic again. Out by Venatza. But only straight at Bassinas. Anelka, Grimondi into no man's land, which in the end will be occupied by Apostolakis.
Peter, the area I'm worried about, which was shown up the first half, is that area. Matthew Upson in David Green, or the left back. It's inexperienced area, and they've been exploited a couple of times.
Asanovic lifted forward for Vashika. Vashika turning, and Grondin doing well.
Two young lads have done very well so far. I hope they can keep the concentration levels up.
Mendes receiving from Boamorte with Anelka through the middle, and Ray far post. It's Mendes with the cross. Too much on it for Christopher Ray. It's a goal kick. Second time in the early stages of the second half that Alberto Mendes had made himself space to deliver a telling ball, and then disappointed with the delivery.
Yeah, in that position, good positions, he definitely needs better quality than that.
Apostolakis. Away from Konstantinidis. Ray and Boamorte trodden each other's toes, but it fell for them kindly in the end, and now Anelka can get up ahead of steam. It's Nicholas Anelka. It's a really fine challenge by Milojevic, and it's an Arsenal corner.
What's about Nicholas Anelka's pace there? He gave him 5 yards and he got 5 yards past him.
The guy is quick.
Tremendous asset, that is, especially when you're under pressure, and he can play a ball into an area. It's not exactly spot on, and he makes an average ball into a very good one. Still only 19, tremendous potential.
Hasn't scored in the Champions League, funnily enough, this season. He's had a few chances which have gone begging, but he's the top scorer domestically, and he's going to be very special. Mendes with the corner, and Sancic with the comfortable catch. In actual fact, there isn't a single Champions League goal in this Arsenal 11. None of the scorers hitherto were fit tonight.
Yet.
Martin Keown, of course, is on the bench, who got one of the goals at Wembley against Panathinaikos, but our information is that he's there really as decoration only.
Well, I know Martin's struggling. He really has got a sore groin, and it'll be desperation stakes. Obviously, the game on Sunday, desperation stakes to put him on tonight. If he can get away without playing him, Arsene Wenger will do that. He'll take that option.
Of Arsenal's 6 outfield substitutes, Remy Gard and Martin Keown aren't fit, and of the remaining 4, Omar Ritzer is the most experienced, with 90 seconds of first-team football in a League Cup tie at Derby a couple of months back.
And if we do see Omar Ritzer, word has it he's quicker than Anelka over 20 yards. He's a greyhound.
So that's making runs across the face of the penalty box. Grimandi with the free kick. Clever again from Ray, but he couldn't find Boamorte. Asanovic receives. Konstantinidis hacks it clear and finds touch.
Just going back to half-time, I was listening to Andy Townsend, and he's absolutely spot on. This game has got to open up for Palace to create things. They must come forward, surge forward in numbers, and they're not doing that at the minute.
Asanovic.
And then it'll leave the chance for Arsenal to use the pace and hopefully break.
And that's losing it in the centre circle. This is Apostolakis. Liberopoulos has pulled out wide, and Vivas saw him going there. Benazza. Konstantinidis had his hands up raised. Ball made contact with him. Arsenal's free kick. Mendes with it. Ray let it run to Grondin. Mendes is unmarked, coming in at the far post, but Grimandi's going to have a try. The adjective speculative was made for moments like that.
I don't think that's his strength. He's done a very good sitting job. We haven't seen too much of Jules Grimandi, which isn't a bad thing. He's being there, he's sitting there quietly, He'll be using his experience along with Steve Bold, Vivas, Seaman. They're very important to keep that team gelled together and helping the youngsters. It's not too important that they play well, but it's very important that they encourage and cajole the youngsters.
And the point about Grimondi is well made. Tonight he is a senior player.
Yeah.
He's 28 years old. He's played big games before. Played more than 30 games last year in a double-winning season for Arsenal. So he's got to make himself count. Mendes. Aim towards Ray.
That is brilliant vision by Mendes. It's a beautiful clip ball into the far post. And again, a little bit more composure. Chance to hit the target. Defenders were floundering. The old right to left ball, a diagonal. First time really Mendes has shown his quality, because he has got a lot of quality and he can be dangerous on the box. First time he's shown it.
Rondin away from Bashika. Postelakis. A good turn. On a deflection, the shot from Asanovic. All the sting was taken off it, and Seaman was able to come and get. Perhaps to mention mercenary, though it seems at this stage, for the financial incentive in this game. Have to see a change for Panathinaikos, with Igor Sitniewski, the Polish striker, preparing to come on in place of Blendar Kola, and without doubt that is a forward-looking move. We have a striker coming on in place of perhaps an attacking midfield player, but Sitniewski is an out-and-out striker. Athol replacing an Albanian. I was just mentioning the money to finish that point. A draw is worth 500,000 Swiss francs to Arsenal. A win, should they achieve it, $1 million, which is about £300,000, a little bit more.
This game's not about money tonight, is it? Not for those players out there. This game's about pride. This is accelerated learning for the young Arsenal players on the European stage.
Oh, they've been caught napping for a second here, though, and are fortunate that the pullback when it came from Asanovic was off target and has actually acted as a catalyst to send Arsenal flowing forward, only for Mendes to re-yield possession. And this is Sitniewski for the first time. Oh, big pace, and Vivas balked him. He wants a penalty. And the referee is having none of it. And there was the look that told you so.
Sitniewski's quick, and Vivas uses his head, or rather his shoulder, but he does use his nose, and that's obstruction. Plain and simple, blocked his way. Clever player, lucky to get away with it.
In that case, maybe an indirect free kick might have been...
Yeah, it wasn't a penalty. An indirect free kick if they were going to be penalised.
Grimondi, by the way, who you saw being treated off the field a short while ago, is back on now. It amazes me that Gary Lewin has any of that spray left.
He's got a few mates beside him these days, hasn't he? In that treatment room.
Never dull in there.
They're empty at the minute.
In case you needed reminding, here are the names of the players not turning out for Arsenal tonight. Steve Bold is playing and found himself in a perilous position. Then Arsenal eventually can get it clear up towards Burr, Morte and Ray. I'll run through the absentees in just a second, but here's Mendes. Vanazza, that's a nice ball. It's Paolo Vanazza. He's quick enough, and the evidence we've seen is that he's purposeful too, and he's got a trick, and Vanazza's ball is dangerous to the edge of the 6-yard box, and he might get a second crack. Mendes. Grimondi, shooting chance. No vigour in the drive.
Just earlier on in that move, if Vanazza could have got his head up, Nicholas Nelka was in 10 yards of space at the far post. But great skill, great drive. He's been very impressive tonight, Paolo Vanazza. Can't believe he's only, what is he, 19? Young man, just. Mature shoulders. Mature head on his shoulders, I should say.
A bit fortunate to stay on the bench for the League Cup tie against Chelsea. Something protected him from any punishment that was going that night. And Nelka held his man off well. Burr Morte tried to go through. Free kick. Here's who isn't playing for Arsenal tonight. Dixon, Parler, Bergkamp, Hughes, Petit, Vieira, Guard, Overmars, Adams, Winterburn, Ljungberg, Caballero, Jason Crowe, who would have played. He may not be their most famed player, but he's on loan to Crystal Palace. And, of course, the last of the 14 after his fitness test this morning, Martin Keown. 14 players who would have played and aren't. But the 11 who are have done okay so far.
They've done better than that, Peter. They've done brilliant. They're under a little bit more pressure now. Panathinaikos are just, as we thought, up in the tempo, trying to close Arsenal down a little bit quicker.
And news from the north of France that Dynamo Kiev have scored against Lens. And if it all stays like that, then Kiev will win the group, and anything that Panathinaikos do will be rendered academic. Mendes. Tackle from Apostolakis. Really got himself back into trouble. Milojevic dug him out of it. Kasanovic has it. Sitniewski. Magonikakis. Milojevic.
They've gone 3 up front now, Peter. Panathinaikos. Sitniewski on the ball now. He's one of the 3. He looks lively. He's got quick feet. Sharp.
Sitniewski. He's already asked a question or two, hasn't he, of the right fullback Vivas and on that occasion Mendes.
He has. He's caused a few problems with Liberopoulos up there and obviously Wajika. This is the testing time for Arsenal.
It's Lagonikakis over the free kick. Just more than an hour played. Siemens' goal still unbreached up to now. Lagonikakis lifting it in. And Christopher Ray lifting it out again. And whether Vasilis Daniel is aware of what's happening in France, only he knows. Aimed in towards Varshika, out by Bold. Ball against hand maybe, but free kick Arsenal's way. Mendes, Vanatza trying to head him in through the inside right channel. Sanovic brought it down neatly. Milojevic, the sweeper, getting forward, as increasingly Panathinaikos will feel they have to. Sitniewski, real pace. Sitniewski! This guy's got an extra little bit of vim and vigour, an evident eye for goal, and speed off the mark, which is posing a new problem for Arsenal.
This looks like their little super sub, doesn't it? Not only get down the outside, he can come in and drive, and luckily he miscued his shot, just screwed it wide. But he's pretty direct, and he's come on, he looks as if he's trying to prove a point, obviously disappointed to be on the bench, but he's got all the credentials to come on, and as we've seen in 5 minutes that he's been on, to change this game.
He did actually come on as a substitute at Wembley as well in the first meeting of these two sides, with Arsenal 2-0 up, and helped to offer a few scares at Wembley Stadium that night. Arsenal's recent European record, by the way, quite apart from this season, makes for pretty gruesome statistical reading. They've only won 1 of their last 11 matches in any European competition. Dating back to a first leg semi-final win against Sampdoria in the Cup Winners' Cup. They lost the second leg but still went through. And then lost the final to Zaragoza in Paris, you'll remember, in 1995, the famous Naim goal. Followed by a couple of defeats against Borussia Mönchengladbach in 96-7, a couple of failures against PAOK Salonika last year. And then this year, only the win at home to Panathinaikos to show. That's 1 win in 11 for a great and famous club. Vanchik with the hurried clearance. Vanatsa quickly onto it. Again, ball seemed to strike hand. It's a fortuitous decision that goes Boamorte's way. You can understand why Apostolakis doesn't like it, but it is an Arsenal free kick.
This is a handy little break for Arsenal. Just gives them time to compose themselves again. Nice little breather. It's a long way out. I don't think there's anybody in the Arsenal team can trouble the goalkeeper from there.
It's the kind of moment when you can close your eyes and imagine Dennis Bergkamp.
Mendes fancies it.
Mendes and Vivas behind the ball. Vanatsa and Boamorte alongside it. It is Mendes. It's a very good strike, and it gives Arsenal an incredible lead. No one would have believed that this bunch of boys could come to this hostile atmosphere and create this kind of scoreline.
Well, he did trouble the goalkeeper, but it took a massive deflection along the way, didn't it? It's a decent strike. I don't think it's gone in. And it's the ex-Derby player, Asanovic, who's going to be credited with that. That is going to go down as an own goal.
They're playing on the break like a mature, seasoned European side. Here is the Panathinaikos change. Konstantinidis going off, and Frank Strandley, the former lead striker, is replacing him. That is 4 out-and-out centre-forwards they have on the field now. And it doesn't take Einstein to work out why. Strandley played a dozen or so times under Howard Wilkinson. Mendes couldn't quite get there. Lagonikakis. Taking on Vivas. He's got away from him. And Vivas had a little nibble at the ankles.
He did, and he did ever so well to get back. Defended well, stay on your feet. You just asked him, stay on your feet, don't dive in, don't give an unnecessary free kick away around the box. Could be a problem.
Just what have Arsenal got left over the last 20 minutes? They'll be leaning on men like Seaman to advise and to cajole and to instruct and to be in charge. Upson back there, you saw in the corner of your picture, learning fast on a big European night. Asanovic over the free kick. Up in the air off Gumas. And out for Paolo Vanatsa's throw in. We shall leave for Grandin. 2 young men together there. David Grandin is still only 18 years old.
They have coped remarkably well, haven't they? You know, we started this game saying we hope Arsenal don't take a beating. And they've had anything but a beating, even territorially. Yeah, the Panathinaikos, as expected, they've had the possession, the majority of it.
Well, this is a good run by Sikniewski. Paul is creating chances. And he's won a corner. And Arsenal's youthful powers of concentration are under huge examination with 20 minutes to play. Bassinas with the corner. Mondi got it away. Bassinas again.
That's good closing by Vanatsa. The most important thing when a man's got the ball is to stop the cross at source. He did that. He covered 15 yards to stop that cross.
Dangerous ball in towards Strandley.
Concentration. This is what they need. They need plenty talking. Organisation at the back. Win the tackles. Win the challenges. Win the balls out from the box. And they're doing exactly that. The young lads are standing up, fighting like men. Superb.
Over the years, they'll have watched and admired their boyhood heroes rolling up sleeves and doing the impossible, and now they're part of it. And Arsenal are breaking again, and Boer Morte was seeking out Ray. And whilst one is disappointed that he didn't find him, one has to applaud the tracking back of Milojevic.
What an opportunity that was.
Iberopoulos. Barshika. It's Barshika! Just floated kindly into Seaman's arms. Forward again by Postolakis, flags up on the far side.
Peter, I don't know what Paulo Vanatz's had for his lunch, but I hope he gives me the recipe, because I'd love just a little bit of it. He's breaking things up, he's closing down, and Arsenal had two players, and all it needed was an easy side-foot ball across, and two Arsenal players could have put the ball away. It was a little bit of a tired pass, actually, by Boer Morte, which is understandable. Pressure of the night, the tension.
Barshika, Sitniewski closest to him, but that is a couple of Arsenal players who weren't about to give him too much of a sniff. And the argument is that he controlled it with his hand.
I think Steve Bull controlled the linesman with his hand as well, because it went straight up, didn't it? A natural reaction for an Arsenal centre-half.
Grondin. Trying to thread it through towards Boer Morte. Stanovic with a touch. Now Postolakis. Barshika. Nice touch. Asanovic. Sitniewski. Ball going back. Sitniewski. Around Seaman. Sitniewski. 1-1. Bang go the fireworks. There's a renewed Greek belief that the quarter-finals are still just about in touch. And it's a pole that's kept them in touch. Arsenal's brave, brave resistance is finally broken. Igor Sitniewski had 1, 2, 3 tries at going round the keeper and defender. And when at first he didn't succeed, he tried again. And it's 1-1.
He showed great feet, Anthony. He's been the one, we said, super sub. He's got the pace, he's got quick feet, he's had to show it here. Nelson Vivas probably made the first wrong decision of the night. He got attracted to the ball, which left Steve Bold stretched, and he just couldn't match the pace. They got caught a little bit there, Arsenal, but you've got to admire the play, and you've got to admire the goal.
But almost at the same time, news from Lowell's that Dynamo Kiev are 2-0 up. And so Panathinaikos, as well as needing to score again themselves, require Kiev to bring about a recovery which would be miraculous, given the further news that their captain, Frederick Dehu, was sent off after 6 minutes of that game, so they've been playing with 10. And it does look as though Kiev, Arsene Wenger's group favourites, as Seaman comes out to meet Apostolakis' through ball. Dynamo Kiev, who Arsene Wenger always said were favourites to win this group, are indeed going to do so. Boer Morte being blamed for the challenge on Liberopoulos.
It was a late challenge.
The ball was nearly over the byline.
Yeah, he hasn't hurt him at all. Little Oscar coming on. So, fine now. Magic.
Free kick for Panathinaikos. 14 minutes to play. Out by Grondin. Louis Boer Morte. He's ambitious to try and pick up Mendes from that range. Vivas. Now Mendes can have it. And win it back. Although having taken a bit of Lagonakakis' shin. And extraordinarily, Lens have got one back against Kiev. It's 1-2 there. Apostolakis. Ball away. And Grimondi further away. Boer-Morte.
I think Grimondi's struggling, Peter. I think he's carrying that knock.
And Nelka brought to earth. And Arsenal are going to make a change. Grimondi, as you suggest, it seemed like this to come off.
They'd like to keep him on. They'd like to keep him in that position for his experience and his nous, and just keep it neat and tidy there and protect the back four.
But Mendes is coming off, and this is a first-team debut for Michael Black, who is one of two brothers on the Arsenal bench tonight, neither of whom have played for the first team before. A change also, by the way, for Panathinaikos, the introduction of Leonidas Vokolos. But there's Michael Black, he's 22 years old, and he wears number 8, only because Ian Wright had just been sold when they had to give everyone a European number, and Frederick Ljungberg hadn't been bought. And Black could be straight into the action, headed away from him towards Vivas upcoming. That was a half-decent strike.
It was there to be hit. It sat up lovely for him, and he strode onto it. He was positive with it, and couldn't manage to keep it down.
Michael Black has played professional first-team football. He had a spell on loan with Millwall last season. It's very nearly a year. Oh, here come Arsenal again with more determination from Boer-Morte. He won't give up. Milojevic not letting him in. Nearly a year since Michael Black pulled on any sort of first-team shirt. And then it was for Millwall in a 3-0 defeat at Plymouth. From Plymouth to Panathinaikos. And with all due respect to those at home park, the atmosphere is rather different. Anelka, Black upcoming. Nicholas Anelka. Oh, he squeezed it in! What a canny finish! And it's the loudest silence you ever heard in Athens. All bar that little bunch who are jumping incredulously up and down at the first Champions League goal in the career of one Nicholas Anelka.
Well, we've been raving about his pace, haven't we? But it's his nous there. He hasn't gone anywhere apart from across the goal. And what forwards like to do in that position is, if the defender's getting close to him, is to open the legs up. There was nobody close enough. They like to get it through the legs in that bottom corner. He's done exactly that. He's managed. It wasn't a well-struck shot, but the direction and the placement was perfect.
Long ball aimed towards Strandley, and Seaman can collect. But again, seeing that Arsenal bench, you just see how much joy they derive.
That's pride. You see Nicholas Anelka again. There's nobody close to him. Decides to hit the ball quite early, cuts across it. It's a lovely striker's goal. I'm pleased for him because he's worked very hard tonight. He's posed the threat. They've worked hard from the front, and it's a thankless task at times when you're just closing defenders down for the sake of it, to put them under pressure, and he's done it willingly.
And that's Black through the middle. It's Michael Black on debut for Arsenal. He'll fancy a crack! Oh. We are talking dream fulfillment here. That was just about his first contribution in a first-team shirt.
And what a contribution that would have been. It was there to be hit, and I tell you what, he didn't hold back. No fear. Love it.
Well, it's there to be enjoyed, isn't it, for these Arsenal players? Lagonakakis. Barshika. Sitniewski. Plenty of Arsenal bodies back again, and Bold got it clear. And it's 3 against 3. Anelka. He's got to hold on because there are 2 offside right now. And there's the flag.
Couldn't get back in time, could he, Christopher Ray? He's looking a little bit weary, actually. He's put an awful lot of work in that midfield area. You can see he's just His legs are getting very, very heavy. Last 10 minutes. He's worked his socks off.
Panathinaikos. But Arsenal, for all the criticism they've taken at times during this Champions League campaign, are only worthy of applause for what they have achieved here tonight, whatever occurs over the last 9 minutes or so. To come on a thankless mission like this, with nothing apparently at stake, to face a team which was clearly very motivated and believing in its qualification chances, and to do what they have done is truly laudable. Michael Black. Vanatza chasing to the corner flag. Nevsky. Panathinaikos. Gumas. It's turning into one of those nights for the Greeks now.
Well, you mentioned they came in with the belief that they could be going through to the quarterfinals, and Arsenal, I think, actually dented that belief by starting the game so well and so positively.
All danger here, though, now for Arsenal. Liberopoulos through for Varshika. About 75% of the 45,000 in the ground thought that had gone the right side of the post from their point of view.
About 50% of this commentary team did as well. Vivas did well because he got a good challenge and put him under pressure. But what about David Seaman? Those fingertips again. I'm sure he's got extensions on them.
They've counted for a lot tonight. Milojevic. That's done well. Liberopoulos. Seaman has come.
That's a lovely little puck. That when you're under pressure, David Seaman knows how important that is. There's not long to go. There's only 5-6 minutes left. And you're bang under pressure. Great sight for defenders to see that. Command and goalkeeper giving yourself a little breather. Much needed breather as well.
And again, seeing Seaman smiling like that, you can't stress, I don't think, too much the sense of enjoyment that Arsenal are clearly getting from their evening.
It's a sense of enjoyment, but it's a massive sense of achievement to come here with this young side. We've got to give credit to the senior pros because they've obviously helped them along, nurtured them. But the stars have been the youngsters tonight.
By the way, for Panathinaikos, the game really is up now. Dynamo Kiev lead 3-1 in Lens. Anelka nearly through again. So Kiev will win the group. But if Arsenal can hang on here, for what it's worth, and it is worth something, they're going to come off the bottom and finish third behind Lens. I beg their pardon, they're going to finish ahead of Lens, aren't they? They're going to finish second ahead of Lens with... no, they're not. They're going to finish on 8 points behind Lens.
It's all very complicated.
I'm looking at the wrong column. They're going to finish third. That's the best they could have hoped for before the evening began. Vivas. Perhaps they just deserve to finish second after that.
They certainly do. And have we seen it? We've certainly seen some tremendous performances from the youngsters. But for me, Arsene Wenger won't thank me for this, for picking one out. Paulo Vanatza has been outstanding.
Reyes let it go for Anelka. Important challenge from Apostolakis. Boamorte surging through, though. Luis Boamorte, 3-1 Arsenal. This is one outstanding team effort. And there are three guys cooking a snoop to those who wouldn't believe in their chances.
Shake your bum, shake your bum. He's had some chances tonight, and this is probably an acute angle. Not his best chance, and he slips it away lovely. He's got himself in the positions, he's used his pace, he's got in those goal-scoring positions. It hasn't quite come off from, But he showed the composure that's been lacking at other times. Lovely little slot, 3-1. Delighted for Arsenal, and they thoroughly deserve it. Moral fibre. Young moral fibre.
Out by Upson. Sitniewski. Good tackle by Black. They all want a piece of it now. Anelka. Black. Black's cross. Out by Lagorikakis. Gathered by Liberopoulos. Sitniewski. Osanovic. Sitniewski. Liberopoulos wide. He's done well to turn his man. It's a dangerous ball in. Ball's got it clear. Anelka.
He's enjoying it, isn't he? Little parade, having a little run across the pitch with the ball. Lovely to see. Nice to be in charge. For men so young.
Rimondi. And out by Lagorikakis and then Gumas.
I must say, Peter, I'm disappointed with Panathinaikos. I thought they would have, especially in front of the home fans, half of whom are disappearing at the minute, that they haven't showed the real passion and drive. A lot of credit to Arsenal, but I've seen Panathinaikos a few times this season, and they've showed me to be a lot better team than what they've showed tonight. Whether they've bottled it, whether they've just crumbled under the Arsenal, a little bit of pressure early on, I don't know. But the manager will be bitterly disappointed considering the stakes for them tonight, quarter-final of the European Cup.
Boamorte. As it turns out, of course, Barry, they wouldn't have made it anyway, but that's not the point when you're a coach looking on at your team's side.
Well, on tonight's performance, I can only back it up and say they don't deserve to be there, because this isn't a team that showed they're a workman-like team anyway. They haven't got too many stars, they haven't got any world-class players in the team, so maybe it's right that they're not on the quarter-final stage.
And we reach the stage now where, sadly, despite this fine display, we're drawing a line under Arsenal's Champions League season, and you can only conclude that 2 last-minute goals have cost them dear. Sitniewski. Good run, good ball. Hit the crossbar. Boshika. And still not clear. And a free kick.
Well, it was Osanovic who hit the bar, and I'm sure it'll be Osanovic who stands over the ball and tries his luck again. 2 inches low, and that was a goal. First real time we've seen his quality around the box. Is this the second time?
Osanovic and Liberopoulos between them. Are weighing up what's possible. Seaman is attempting to limit their options. Into time added on. Alyosha Osanovic. Just bounced on the roof of the net. Harmlessly so.
See the pressure, it's on his favourite left foot. You know what he wants to do, he wants to loop it over and dip it. Just doesn't. David Seaman in a position of no hope there. A little bit of luck, and they deserve it. And a little bit of luck again. The woodwork didn't work from the first half when it went the wrong way from Nicholas and Anelka, but 2 favours there.
Milojevic with the free kick. Last chances now for Panathinaikos to make an impact. Too close to Seaman, though.
There'll be some proud men sitting on that Arsenal bench tonight, Peter, but even more so sat at home be some proud mums and dads, because their little boys have went out there and done them so proud. Lions' hearts, they've played like men, and they've got a big future. And this one, probably the biggest. Paulo Vanat says, "Ali's first mistake of the night. Spoken too early. Me, my big mouth."
Strandley through the middle. Vivas going across, not for the first time. And Grandin very calm. They've grown into the game.
They have. They have. They've gelled together as the game's gone on.
And Arsene Wenger was prepared openly to admit that this was a game he just wanted to get over with, because it offered for him all sorts of nightmarish thoughts of young players having their spirits quashed, perhaps long term. But as it turns out, it will have lifted the footballing spirits of young men and made them better.
Well, the last time they put a young team out was against Arsenal. They got a 5-0 thrashing, and they haven't had a decent result since then. Hopefully for Arsenal supporters, this result here with the youngsters out can be the catalyst to bigger and better things, and get them onto a run now in the league, starting on Sunday against Aston Villa.
Black is onside, but in levering it back, he wasn't able to find Anelka or Ray in the middle. And by the way, Panathinaikos, it's now confirmed, won't qualify, because Kiev have won 3-1 in Lens and have therefore won Group E. It'll be Kiev first, Lens second, Arsenal third, and Panathinaikos fourth and last. Milojevic hitting it long. Won by Vanatza, who's kept on going. He really wants a piece of the action before an evening that perhaps he doesn't want to end, does end. Black, Anelka, Grimondi, Anelka.
Strutting his stuff now, isn't he, Anelka? Nicholson, he's got that lovely little goal tucked under his belt. The wind's there.
Well, it will be interesting to see what the 11 is against Aston Villa on Saturday, because this Wednesday evening, a young, untried 11 has triumphed for Arsenal. It's a success with no long-term ramifications, but those strikes from Boer Morte, and before him Anelka, and before him from Alberto Mendes, a free kick which struck Asanovic before falling beyond the keeper. Those strikes have made it a proud, proud night indeed for Arsene Wenger and for all men Arsenal. Sitniewski with the sole reply for Panathinaikos, whose own qualification chances have been quashed. Everything that Arsene Wenger could have wanted, he's had delivered by his young heroes here in Athens. The final score, Panathinaikos 1, Arsenal 3, and from the Champions League from Arsenal, it is au revoir.
So a superb end to a disappointing Champions League campaign for Arsene Wenger's side, and that victory means they finished Group E in third place. Dynamo Kiev's win in Lens ensures they qualify for the quarter-final stages in the spring. They won 3-1 over their French rivals. But there was great news from Old Trafford, where despite Manchester United being held to a 1-1 draw by Bayern Munich, United still qualify as one of the two best runners-up. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage and that you'll join us again in March for the Champions League quarter-finals. Until then, bye-bye.
This program was sponsored by Ford and PlayStation, UEFA Champions League sponsors.